Hi, I'm super excited to have Alba joining me here today. We're here on Richard Branson's private island, Necker, which is actually where we met 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I always remember that she was giving this talk, and she's so gorgeous and so beautiful, but I felt her so nervous, but she was so passionate about this science of sound. And I just felt that passion through her, and I was like, I love this girl. I need to meet her. I need to be friends with her. And it's been amazing over these years as our friendship has developed, just see if it was even possible to see her flourish from there as she really leaned in to exploring the science of sound. And now she's created an app called Willowave that is actually implementing all the things that she's learned over the years, giving us a tool that can transform our lives. So first, I want to just get into a little bit of your story and how you got into the science of sound and that exploration. If you could start to share with that.
Of course. And just by the way, the feeling was mutual when we met. It was like you were the only person who got past the super sciencey talk, and you're like, but what does that actually mean? And sat down with me until you fully understood. And it dawned on me in that moment. It's like, oh yeah, most people when you tell a story that they don't really understand or it's too sciencey, they just nod politely and then move on to the next subject.
Because it was so technical. You geeking out on the different waves.
I was so excited about it. I was like, you guys don't understand. But you were so good at digging deeper and fully understanding the story. And I think that's also such a great gift that you have. So thank you for that.
So now, can you walk us through that a little bit on why does sound matter?
Yeah, I mean, I've been working with music and sound since I was 4 years old, and writing music from highbrow concert orchestra pieces to soundtracks for film and TV. And so for me, it's always been very obvious the relationship between music and emotion and how you can not manipulate but influence massively people's emotions through music and sound. And I was always very interested in the science of it. Sure, I get it that music has emotional connections with us and can bring up certain states in us, but why, and is there something that that is not as obvious? That led me down a rabbit hole of research. And the more I looked into it, the more I realized that there were certain frequencies, certain vibrations that affect our body and mind in specific ways, right? Beyond the emotional state. And if you think about it, we are made of mostly water. And what happens when you place a speaker under water or even near it? It starts vibrating, right? So our cells and our organs do the same. They vibrate in resonance with whatever sound we're exposed to. So that was one part of it. And then there's just multiple layers.
Well, and I love that because, so another thing that we connected on is that we come from very logical backgrounds and not open to sort of woo-woo things, but then through a series of different things in our lives, we've become open to it. And I think, if it came from anyone else, I wouldn't have been as open to this idea that sound could really change my life, change my feelings, impact my nervous system and things like that. But you've managed to mix this idea of yes, physics shows you that this has an impact. But that it also goes beyond that into consciousness.
Yeah, and I think that's what I've realized in the past 3-4 years is that everything is experiential, right? And then once you experience something, you can look at it from different perspectives. There is always a perspective of, okay, let's look at the hard science. Then there's always a perspective of, well, okay, despite of what the science is saying, how do I feel? What is the actual result that I am experiencing, right?
Yes.
And of course,
do you want to be right, or do you want to
right?
be
And it's usually both, the intersection of both, right? When you feel a specific way and there is something that is impacting you, even if you cannot explain it at the beginning, when you dig deep enough or in the right area, with science, and you end up finding it. And I think with sound, sound healing has been used for thousands and thousands of years. Back then, we didn't care about finding out why. We just knew that it worked. And now science is catching up to being okay, well, if we measure this specific thing in this specific way and correlate it with this specific systems in the body, now we understand why it's working. And so I think my path, as you're saying, is okay, yes, understanding things and proving them with science is crucial, because otherwise we cannot create a baseline that can be shared by multiple people because different people's experience might be different. But at the same time, if there is something that is working, even if we don't know exactly why yet, doesn't mean that it's not scientific. It just means that we haven't found the way to test it yet. So I think that's where my mind started opening up to like, okay, let's explore the things that haven't been proven yet. And then start proving them.
But you've, like, as you said, there is a base of science that's already been proven. Yeah. So what are some of the things that we know?
Yeah. So I'm gonna separate some of the words that I'm gonna use because they can get mixed in the explanation. So one thing is healing frequencies. Okay. And these are different tones that are related to different processes in the body. So, for example, when you hear 432 hertz or 528 hertz, that is just a rate of vibration that creates one specific sound. The research with that is that certain tones resonate with specific processes in the body. So, for example, 528 hertz can lower cortisol levels or even promote DNA repair in cells. For 32 hertz, similarly, acts as a relaxer. You know, cortisol is the only specific molecule we can test right now to measure states of stress, but there are other biomarkers that can work with that, HRV, for example, or recovery levels of inflammation. But again, we have to find the exact thing to test to correlate. So that's the healing frequencies.
And the impact is immediate then.
Yeah, about you have to listen for about 10 minutes. Okay. And then that starts.
And so what are some of the applications of that? Cortisol impacts a lot of things, but one thing like weight gain, for example, could it be used as like a diet process to just listen to this every day or something?
So sustained levels of stress and high cortisol level that is constantly in your body then has a domino effect, right? And it starts affecting inflammation, like your body retains liquids, and that's or the digestive processes slow down because your body is in a sympathetic state. Exactly. And so any systems that are not encouraging survival, they kind of like get put into, you know, second tier of priority. So maybe you were affecting just one element, but that element then has a cascading effect. And sure, the more relaxed you can be and the more intentional you can be about it, because intention is another thing, right? If you have decided that this is something that is important in your life, you're naturally going to pay more attention to it. Like, oh, what am I doing while I'm eating? Am I just like fidgeting and like looking at my phone and like thinking about what I have to do next? You're like, oh, wait. You become more aware, like, oh no, when I'm eating, I need to relax. And the sound frequency will do a lot in itself, but then just the intention of knowing I'm putting the frequency and therefore I'm reminding myself that while I'm eating, I need to be in a relaxed state. It all works together in your life. I'd
like to ask more about how it's used, but you mentioned that there's other frequencies, there's other things.
Yeah, other techniques, and this is where it gets a little confusing, and hence my talk being all technical and sciencey.
I know, I've been talking to you about this for 3 years, but I still am learning new things.
I know, it's so much.
So much.
All right, so we have those pure tones, right? Those healing frequencies. And then we go to the brain. And the brain works in electrical impulses, right? And those impulses have a rate to it, which is also a frequency. So before we were talking about sound frequencies, now we're talking just about how fast something happens. It's a pulse. And when we're in different states, so when we're in focus mode or deep sleep or meditation, those electrical impulses have a different rhythm to them, right? And that's what we call brainwaves. And the brain does this cool thing where it not only gets yes, I get very passionate about this. It not only gets into these states, but also if we expose the brain to specific rhythms, it tends to try to match them. And what this means is that we can induce the brain into these states of focus, relaxation, deep sleep, just by feeding it the rhythm.
So like it could be like hopping, but then because the music's slow, or the sound, the frequency is slow, it naturally slows to match.
Exactly. And that's what we call the frequency following response, and wildly documented by research. And so those are the brainwaves, right? So what we do with Willowave is like, okay, we know this pure tone healing frequency works. We know this other thing called brainwave entrainment works. What happens if we stack them together? And we not only use that healing frequency, but on top of it, we are using the brainwaves.
Yeah.
Those are two of the techniques that we use. And then we sprinkle some other things on top that we can talk about
Yeah.
after.
So the first one isn't directly for the brain, it's more for the body?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and
Interesting.
it's all connected, of course.
Yeah.
But
And I remember I've asked you about this before, but on YouTube and things like that, we see a lot of different things talking about binaural beats and things, but you've said that those aren't really as effective as they make themselves out to be.
some of
Why
them,
is
and the reason why this is complex is because number one, sound healing has lived in a pseudoscience realm for a long time. And so that lends itself to a lot of misconceptions and a lot of execution with mixed levels of accuracy. And so some of these videos that you see online where it's like 528 healing frequency music, and you go in there and it's like beautiful spa music, and maybe like buried underneath we have that pure tone. But when you understand how the science works, it's like you need to be exposed to that specific tone. And if you cover it up with other music that is not tuned to the same level and also using a lot of other frequencies, that signal gets a little bit distorted. It's like having a radio signal and then like jamming a bunch of other radio signals at the same time. You're gonna get distortion, right? And so it's not that it's not going to work, because again, intention does a lot, right? And if the fact itself that you decided to look for a video that is healing music and decided to sit down and listen to it, that is probably going to do more for you and for your relaxation than the music itself. But yeah, it's not, when you get to measuring exactly what's happening in the music, many of those videos are not fully accurate.
Yeah. Okay. And so well, first, in your own personal life, or what would you recommend for someone to start incorporating sound into their lives? Like, yeah, this is a great idea, but
yeah, well, that's the
how do I
other
use
thing.
it?
For me, it's like a massively underutilized tool, right? Because you can close your eyes, but you cannot really close your ears. Your ears are constantly picking up information. Like, I'm hearing the flamingos in the background. I'm hearing every time the wind is moving the trees. And for the most part, we don't register these at a conscious level, because now I'm focused on your, in the conversation. But our subconscious is processing all this information all the time. And I mean, this is a gorgeous island, and we couldn't be more relaxed, here. But I lived in New York City for 10 years, and that was a very different sonic environment, right? You're hearing ambulances passing by, the honking, people yelling on the streets. And even if you're in your apartment or your office complex, you're hearing that in the background. And even if you're not paying attention to it, your body is receiving the signal of like, oh, wait, and we need to be on alert because there's people yelling and there's like strange sounds going on. And we constantly stay in a latent, state of stress because of that. For me, it's like, obviously I've spent my whole life working with sound, so I'm hyper aware of it. But I move through the world and I'm like, why are they playing this like random playlist on this hospital thing when people are already stressed out, And then they're playing like high beat music. It's like they don't realize that this is making people more stressed out. And of course, no, they don't realize because people don't think about this. But I noticed that constantly around me, and like such a missed opportunity to make people feel the way you want them to feel instead of accidentally choosing something.
Yeah. So there's so much possibility. I mean, spas kind of got that already. They know to play some relaxing music, but there's possibilities for, you were mentioning in your talk earlier about schools to help you focus, hospitals. Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, and knowing that, music is not just about relaxing, right? There are frequencies and brainwave states that promote cognitive function or memory retention. So, in schools, like, why are we not elevating the experience by playing a little bit of music in the background, which would already make the experience feel more magical, more engaging, and at the same time is subtly influencing kids' brains to be more engaged.
So actually interesting. So I want to bring this down to like how I can use it more. But that actually gave me an idea that perhaps in the future when I have kids, I would like to homeschool. So have like a homeschool session. they have their work, and then as a mom, I put the music on, and it
and it's just you don't have to do anything. It's just in the background, you know. It's just kind of working for you. But bringing it down to the daily lives, I think maybe I will take this opportunity to sneak another one of the techniques.
Okay, yes.
Little technique intervention here, intermission. So we have talked about healing frequencies. We have talked about the brain states. Then we add music right on top, just so it's easier to listen to it, other than just like hearing one tone. But the music is already like chosen to be fully tuned with that frequency, so it's not like creating that noise that we were talking about earlier with the YouTube videos. It's making sure that every frequency that we're using in the music is enhancing that effect versus detracting from it. And then on top of it, we have affirmations, right? And affirmations is another thing that gets people in the realm of like, I had someone tell me yesterday, like, when I think of affirmations, I think of someone looking in the mirror and being like, you're gonna be better tomorrow than you are today. And you know, there are funny examples like that, but again, there is a lot of science behind this, and so I would love to get a little bit into that, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that was a life-changing thing for me. I think my whole journey began when I read the book Psycho-Cybernetics, and it made me realize that being able to change those thoughts changes everything. And everyone there's many books that cover that, but that was the one that triggered it for me to be like, oh, like
it
those little things are making the difference. So how do affirmations fit into
where
this?
we start with this? Okay, so let's just say our brain is a pattern making machine, right? And if you think about the brain, it's evolved to kind of find a new situation and immediately know what to do to keep you safe and to keep you thriving, right? The way we do that is we gather information from the experiences that we've lived in the past and try to draw parallels to anticipate what's going to happen. So if I meet someone and they talking very loudly and very fast, my brain goes like, okay, the other people that I've met that talk very loudly and very fast are usually, I don't know, extroverts, or are usually like, can, help me connect with people, or whatever associations we have based on our past. And so we project those immediately into the situation to create a clearer picture of what we're dealing with. But again, that makes that our reality or our associations are then massively influenced by what we've lived in the past. And so when we're trying to change, or when we have had a past that is not conducive to growth, right? Let's say that our parents are always talking to us about being careful, like the world is a fearful place and you have to be careful and not talk to strangers, and like everybody's out to get you. And let's say that we grew up with this like negative mentality about the world. Our brain learned that and is projecting that into all of our other interactions with the world and creating that reality for ourselves. Because if we are trying to find that, we're gonna find it, right? We're gonna filter reality to find those pieces of information that match what we're expecting to find. That's kind of the short of it. So what we call that an inner narrative, right? And some people have a literal voice in their heads that is kind of constantly saying things like, why did I do that? Or I'm not going to do this fast enough, or if I say that I'm going to look like an idiot. Or it's this constant negative inner narrative that filters the way we perceive the world. And so now we get to affirmations, and yes, there are silly things that we can say in front of the mirror, but the power of them is that slowly they rewire what our brain's expecting to find. They rewire that inner narrative, and therefore makes our brain focus on things that are conducive to our success. So if instead of thinking that everybody's out to get us and we have to protect ourselves from the world, if we feed the brain with a story like, oh, actually the world is a beautiful place, I'm going to find support and friendship everywhere I go, people are trying to help me, I'm going to see beauty everywhere, then your brain starts trying to see that, and that becomes your reality.
Affirmations have been really powerful for me, and I'd add here that they don't work overnight, but the way I see it is that you have to counteract every time you've heard the other negative thing. So if your parents every day for your 18 years living together said, life is hard, you need, hopefully not 18 years of that, but you need to realize that it's already stacked in this account, and you need to start building up.
Unlearning.
Unlearning against it. And so it can take time, but it's so so valuable.
Yeah, and the cool kind of like hack that we found with this is that the brain can perceive information even when it's not at a conscious level, right?
My favorite part.
I know. This is where we get into hacking into the brain frame. So yeah, there is a lot of research behind this as well, where someone will play information or a specific word over and over and over below hearing range or at a very, very low volume, so you're not consciously hearing it. But then they ask the test subjects, like, just say a random word, whatever comes to mind. And sure enough, they will say the word they had been hearing subliminally, right? Listen,
so cool, but so scary.
So scary. And this is the other thing. Like I worked in advertising when I was in New York City, right? And people are using this everywhere. You know, like there's ads that are constantly pumping subliminal information of like you need this, right? You're not gonna be happy unless you have this. And
that's why it's so important to not just have the TV playing in your house just all the time, or the radio. My dad loves just having the radio on.
Yeah.
Because you don't know, you're being fed this stuff unintentionally. Because at least if you choose it, hopefully you're choosing from outlets that aren't going to have that kind of subliminal.
Not only that, but you can, and that's another thing that I wanted to do with Willowave, is give the people the actual power to choose what they're being fed with, right? So with Willowave, you can write your own subliminal affirmations, so you know exactly what you're programming yourself with. To me, it's not even at this point, because we are fed so much information subliminally, it's not even a tool for thriving, it's a tool for balancing. Getting back to baseline of like, I am at a zero. I don't even know what
that is anymore.
Exactly.
Amazing. And so, okay, so all of these are in the app, which I love. You've brought it all together in one place, and you can really craft your own experience, right? So you can pick the frequencies, the beats, the
music,
and even the affirmations. And so, okay, can you walk me through, now that I have the app, how should I start using it?
So this is where you could choose two forks, right? We have the fork of, I just want the app to create it for me because I don't know yet what frequencies, or I want to kind of try it out. And so we have implemented an AI component. It's called Willow. And you tell her what you need. You're like, well, I need to sleep, or I have a big presentation tomorrow, or whatever it is. And she will take a moment to shift through all of the sounds. We have trained her to know the science of everything, and she will create a soundscape for you. Or you can go the control freak route, which it's my preference, surprise. And you can literally just choose like, okay, I'm feeling like I need to relax, 4:32. And then I want to go to sleep, so I'm just gonna do the deep sleep brainwaves, and then I'm feeling like, I don't know, probably if it's sleep, like very soothing music, so I'm gonna put that on. And affirmations for my presentation tomorrow, I want it to go well, so I'm just gonna say my presentation goes well, my coworkers are so proud of me, you know, I wake up feeling refreshed, whatever you want. And I just play that during the night.
And you can save those so that you could listen to it same.
Yeah, if you know that there is something that you want to work on every morning, for example, when you're getting ready and you want like exciting music and inspirational affirmations, you can set all that up and save it and be like, this is my morning routine. And while you're putting your makeup on.
That's been huge for me. For my work, I have now triggers for different things, and I think you can jump faster into
that state.
If you just have that one.
And again, our brain works in associations, right? So like if you build on, like, whenever I hear this, I'm feeling ready, I'm feeling pumped, I'm like so excited, like then you don't even have to do the work to feel that, because the moment you hear the music, your body has learned, oh, this music means this, so let me rearrange everything to feel that way. And we don't have to do any of that. Our bodies are literally built for that. So if you create a routine, it will become easier and easier to achieve those states.
Yeah, gotta get the gym version there. Then you're killed it.
There is an inspirational part of it that like promotes just kind of like focus and flow states are important for the gym as well.
Well, I'm so excited to put it into every aspect of my life. I already like it for, meditation and relaxation, but I haven't incorporated it into my morning routine yet. So I'm excited to try that. And I'm just so proud of you and so excited to see this. I think first I feel that your blossoming has to be your alignment with really being with your purpose. But also, after you were talking about New York, I think I met you when you were still living in New York.
It's been a journey.
I can attest to the energy change
Yeah.
of how you are.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining me, and hopefully this won't be the last one. Yeah, so if you want to download Willowave, I'll put the link in the description, and you have to try it out now. That's freemium, so it's free to use, but there's a lot of additional things and perks that'll make it completely addictive for you.
Let us know what you think.
Thank you.